This video assumes that you have forked and cloned the Nydusworm repository, and that you have tried to run the program using the dummy launcher as explained in the README on the GitHub or in the previous video that I made. When you have run the my module of the previous video that only prints start and doesn't really do anything, prints something when it gets the callback methods, you may be wondering, how do I make this a bit more intelligent? How do I make it do anything? So in the add modules method in the dummy launcher, there is a variable called services. Now, services is a dictionary from type to an instance of that type, and it contains a various amount of services which you can use to make your AI do things quite simply. So if you want your my module to now produce some marines so that you can attack the enemy and win, you would want to get the service that is the production manager. So we get the prod man, we say services.get, and then we give it the type of the production manager. This will get us the production manager out of the service collection. Now to use this, then we'll just pass the production manager to the my module constructor and assign it in the my module constructor as well. Oh, yeah, we'll have to assign it to the correct constructor. Now we have this prod man, and just to show you the different methods it has available, I will cast this to the production manager so we can make IntelliSense show us. And import it. Make sure the capitalization is correct. Now, see, it has three methods. This QUnit, QTech, and clear build order. In QUnit, the production manager will make sure that this unit is created. And the unit in this case can be both buildings, units, workers, and the tech is any upgrade that you can make as this race. And the clear build order simply just removes any of the units or technology that you have queued. Now, so if I want this to create me some marines, I'll just use the production manager on game start and say I want to queue some units. Now, the QUnit takes at least the ID of the unit type you want to create. Now, it can be quite hard to just know that this should be 49 or whatever, but we have made a constants file which makes this quite easy to know, which is called Blizzard constants. So when you want to queue a unit, you just say Blizzard constants dot unit marine. Now the production manager has queued a marine. I want a bit more than one marine, so I say, so I want to queue 10 marines. Now you may think, but we need a barracks, we need a supply depot. But let's see how it works. It creates the supply depot for you and the barracks. It does, however, tell you that you should have thought about this. A marine requires a barracks, and this barracks requires a supply depot, so I'm queuing it for you now, just to let you know that it happens. And we get our marines. Now, the marines are just standing here. If we didn't help them, they wouldn't do anything. So now let's take the next step. We want the marines to actually attack. This requires a little more. Let's shut this down. Now, to attack the enemy, I'll need to know where I should attack. First, we'll need to know to get some intel. And for that, we have another service called the Intel Manager. Which we will feed to its constructor as well. This was the wrong module. Here we go. Intel man. And we can do the same for the Intel Manager to show the just import it. And assign the value. With the Intel Manager, you have a lot more options. There's all kinds of different information here, which is enemy buildings, your buildings, the minerals on the field, so on and so forth. Now, to find the enemy base, we want to see all of the colonies, but we're out for one specific colony. So we'll iterate over the colonies. And we'll find the colony who is a starting location. And assign it to a value that is the enemy starting location. And we'll make that a field in the class. The enemy starting location. Start with. So, is the starting location is all the colonies on the map that is a possible starting location for the enemy. In this specific map, there is only one, so we'll just hardcode it to be one to look for the first starting location there is and attack that. We'll assign self.enemy start to be a colony. And we just need the point, not the entire thing. because it's a property. There we go. Now we have the enemy starting location. But that's not gonna help us much because we don't actually attack yet. And we don't know whether any of our units are, or whether our units are done. So now we'll have to move outside the game start and actually do something later. Since this is an async module, we don't get notifications every step, and we'll have to make a new thread for listening to incoming, for requesting new intel every now and then. To save a little time, I'll take the one from DummyAsyncModule. Which basically says that as long as the game is running, request an intel update, then add all the workers. I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this. But yes, and we'll just start the thread in the game start. So instead of just requesting random thing here, we'll start a thread that starts to listen every 5 seconds. It runs this loop. Now the details of this loop I'll come back to, but basically it requests an intel update every 5 seconds. Now, the contents of this loop. So requesting an intel update will update the intel manager, which we have up here. And then it will iterate over the workers it has in list of all workers, which is a part of the intel manager as well. Now, if we want to control a group of units as one, we'll want to create a squad, which basically is that, a collection of units. And to create a squad, we can use the squad repository within the intel manager. The squad repository simply has a create method, which creates a squad with a given name. We call it the gang. And with this method returns the squad that it has created. So if we save this gang, we can assign it here. With this squad in hand, now I have a way to control all of the units as one. So, in this loop we're running, we'll check if we'll update our intel, and then we'll check all the workers we have and add them to this squad that is the gang. Then we'll also need to add the Marines to our collection. Now, Marines are not workers, so we'll say we'll look in the intel manager and get all the units of our own units. And we'll add them to the gang as well. And we'll call it a unit and not a unity. when we have added all the workers to the gang and all of our units to the gang, we'll check whether the size of the gang is greater than or equal to 22. This is a hard-coded number because we're starting with 12 SVs and we produce 10 Marines. And we just want to attack as soon as we produce our Marines. This is very simple AI. Once this requirement is met, we need to attack the enemy. Now, to attack or perform actions on squads or units, we'll need a new service that is the Combat Manager. So if we go back to the dummy launcher, and we retrieve the Combat Manager. And feed it to our module. And add it. And assert that it is Combat Manager just to give us the intelligence. You can see the different functionalities that the Combat Manager has. Combat Manager. Oh, yeah, we don't want to assert that the Intel Manager is the Combat Manager. There we go. It has a wide array of different things you can use, and some of them are for convenience. That is the attack moves, the moves and squad, and the attack, regular attack. And there is the ability to use all the different kinds of abilities. So for instance, if you want to use Stimpack, you'll use targetless ability, etc. But for our example, now that we have the Combat Manager, we can, in this method, rather than combat, we'll say Combat Manager, attack move the squad that is the gang, and feed it its the gang's ID. Attack the enemy starting location. Now, to not constantly spam this command every time we request every 5 seconds, and just do it once, we can introduce a Boolean variable just to make sure that it is only done once. And to make sure that the game loop ends, that this thread is spun down, we'll need to make sure that it has an incentive to stop when the game is ended. And assign this value in the start as well. True. And when it's ended, it's not true. And this should give us an AI that is very similar to the one that is the async dummy module. Except for the fact that we have messed up our call to fret. Right, we have to import threading before we can spawn a thread. And we'll have to import time before we can use time.sleep. There you go. Now, this module only queues one barracks, whereas the DummyAsyncModule queues 4 to make it run a bit faster, to make the production of units a bit faster. And it does not queue the tech for combat shields. And we messed up. Nope, there you go. So because it only checks every 5 seconds, right? There you go. Slightly smarter AI that actually beats very easy butter. Hope you can make some cool AIs with Nydusworm. And this was it for this video.